Um, but if you're working from dark to light, the having the uh, white and black as your primary colors is going to throw everything off. So one of the things I strongly recommend is don't work from a white background. A white background can be really, really tough because all the colors that you're putting down is immediately washed out. So I immediately put on a really warm, cool yellow, and this is actually called Naples yellow. Fun fact. I really like this color because it's a yellow that has a little bit of cadmium red and cerulean blue, and it's a very neutral color. So that means I can add colors to it without it getting washed out like white would. And you're always cross-referencing the colors that you're working from against the background. So if the background is incredibly dark or incredibly light, it can muck with all the other colors that you're working from. So learn from my misadventures, have a neutral background. It could be gray. Gray is a fantastic neutral background. It can wash out a couple of your pictures because there's no pigment to kind of put it in one way or another. It's just a tonal ground. Um, and yeah, I could talk. Okay, my cat says shut up, but uh, it can go a lot of different ways, and it is always helpful to be a little fearless with your approach to drawing. I'm not gonna lie. So this guy, you'll see these like white lines horizontally because I actually mucked with the size formatting of this picture. So that's why it basically widens out pretty considerably. I didn't like how gray he was, so I immediately brought up the saturation levels. Um, and I thought that was a lot better a position. And then when I had the colors I wanted, that tonal ground background can be changed or go away completely. So a light blue was actually what the photo looked like, and I was very happy with it. And this is where I was working closer, 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 and me mucking with the shapes, and this is what it ended up looking like. Pretty happy with it. Uh, that was a labor of love. And then this guy, someone asked if I who this guy was. Literally a random face I found on IMDb. Wish I could say I knew where he was from, and that was pretty much it. So again, always line art, line art, line art, line art. Get the line art right the first time, and then everything else falls into place. So I always, always, always try to work line art, darks, lights, and then fine tune. So if you ever see me deviate, that's usually because I'm trying something completely new. It's really, really important to experiment, but also this workflow works for me. Here's a very dark tonal ground, and this is actually because I was trying to draw a gray underpainting and then work my way up from there, but then I realized how much I hated it, and I gave up on it really fast. But and you'll see that this comes out pretty gray and closer to his skin tone. But then I was like, he looks dead, and I kind of hate it. Uh, so after a while, I'm like, okay, we got to bump up his color saturation, make him a little bit more alive, as opposed to like grimacing corpse. Sorry if you're into that sort of thing. Um, and that's the saturation that I was like largely happy with. Unfortunately, it's a lot more saturated on screen than it is on my screen, but that's fine because that kind of gives us a sense of what he will look like in the end. Uh, and again, he kind of breathes life into his cheeks. God bless. So yeah, this is what he looked like in the end. And so yeah, as the more I do these paintings, the better the uh, experience gets. Here's my coworker's former cat who passed away recently. The cat, not my coworker. And I drew out a line art and basically did a lot of color blocking. I don't really do a lot of like pet drawings or animal drawings in general. Um, nothing against it. It's just that process is not something I know a lot of. Yes. Hey Chucks, how you doing? And so it is sometimes really good to try something completely different. Um, and this is me trying something completely different. I only put in like 2 hours of this because my one of my other coworkers asked me to draw her cat, and this is what came up, and I was happy with it. And look, he looks so cute. His name was Ozzy, short for Ozymandias, and he we don't know what he was dying of, but he was. It's really tough to talk about animals in this kind of context, but he was kind of wasting away, and I work in like animal conservation, so like good animal welfare is really important to me and my coworkers. Yes, and I'm a level 2 Ellis because no, like I got to defeat them. I got the killing blow, Jux. It's really important to get the killing blow for the extra XP. Come at me, bro. Um, and Yeah, and this came out pretty good. It's really adorable. And if you want to go kind of blind, this is the recent self-portrait that I worked on. So a really dark tonal ground because my skin tone is darker-ish. Um, and again, before the painting starts, the line work is done in 15 minutes. So work really quick, do an assessment. Does it look roughly right? Yes. Continue. No. Scrap it. Uh, and it used to be like 2 minutes long, but I kind of gave up on that because I don't have time to practice over and over and over again. And this is where I went with the go dark to light and work your way to a like general skin tone that you're happy with. Not a lot of blending because the blending comes much later. That's future me's problem. Just put down colors that closely align, and everything else sort of will fall into place. So after I was done with the base colors, I can then go and add a background. I hated light blue, but it kind of gave me a sense of where these other colors were hidden. And then I went to the color that was closer to what the original photo reference looked like. And you're going to see like this painting goes through a lot of different changes. And I apologize for how much. Uh, so like, it's not pristine. My skin tone's not pristine, so I'm trying to add in all these variations and so on and so forth. Um, and fine tune it. But then I realized, well, what if this doesn't actually look like me? Which is not great. So I imported the reference photo, and this is where that photo was. So I can actually see where things needed to be changed, and I apologize for all the flashing. Jux, no. um, and able to just fine. Jux, you're the worst. Uh, and sort of fine tune the shape of the head closer to what it needs to be. Uh-oh, reported for flashing. um, and then we can sort of keep working, but you can see this flashing is because I'm constantly going through, here's all the proper measurement lines that I was doing. That kind of keeps everything in shape. Oh my God, that's a lot of flashing. Whole lot of flashing. Um, but the end result is pretty good. It actually looks more like me than the original did. And that's really important because when you're doing a self portraits kind of need to look like you. Yeah, right. I know. So much flashing. Uh, I don't know how to do any clipping, so nerds to you, buddy. Um, so yeah, that's basically it in a nutshell. And then like here's the stuff I did uh, for early streaming evening, and just like crank out as much portrait drawings as possible. So these could be really good exercises, Chris, if you ever want to like push yourself into a certain field, as in like portrait work, or if you want to do animals, do 10 animals in 2 hours. So you basically push yourself to the point where you hate